Have you ever met someone who was so mean that an entire town turned against them? Well, this story starts in a tiny school during the 1990s, where a group of lunch ladies thought they could bully children without consequences. But what they didn't realize was that 4 brothers were about to give them a lesson they'd never forget. My 3 brothers and I attended a small local school with only a few classrooms and a simple lunchroom. The lunchroom was run by 2 older women who seemed to enjoy making children miserable. They would scream at students for the smallest mistakes, slam wooden spoons on tables, and even punish kids in humiliating ways. One day, they deliberately served 4 younger children only half a plate of mashed potatoes because they claimed they hadn't been warned those kids would be eating there. To us, it felt cruel and unfair, but as children, there wasn't much we could do. Then one of my brothers came up with an unexpected plan. Instead of going to the lunchroom, he and a friend pooled their allowance money, walked into town, bought a fresh baguette and sliced ham, and enjoyed their own little picnic. When lunchtime arrived and the boys were nowhere to be found, panic broke out. The lunch ladies demanded answers. Teachers were called, students were questioned, but none of us gave away the secret. Even my youngest brother, only 6 years old, stayed completely silent. Eventually, the missing boys were found and asked why they had skipped lunch. That's when everything changed. They openly described how the lunch ladies treated students. What started as a simple attempt to avoid a bad lunchroom experience quickly exploded into a town-wide scandal. Parents were furious. Teachers were shocked. Even the mayor had to answer questions because the women worked for the municipality. For the first time, everyone knew what had really been happening behind those lunchroom doors. Years passed and our family prepared to move away. School had ended for the summer and we spent our days riding bikes around the empty grounds. One afternoon, while performing bike tricks near the lunchroom, we noticed something unusual. The lunch ladies had apparently forgotten their entire ring of keys in the door after cleaning. It wasn't just one key, it was a huge ring filled with labeled, color-coded keys. At first, we looked around to see if anyone was coming back for them. Nobody did. That's when a mischievous idea entered our minds. We locked the doors, checked the windows, and made sure the building was secure. Then we found an old tin can, placed the keys inside, packed it tightly with dirt, and buried it in a ditch right next to the lunchroom. As far as we know, those keys were never found. Imagine the confusion when the lunch ladies returned and realized the entire keyring had vanished. New keys, new locks, paperwork, explanations, an absolute nightmare. And the best part: nobody ever connected it to us. Years later, even our parents were surprised when they finally heard the story. Looking back, exposing the bullying was the real victory because it protected other students. But that hidden tin can become our unforgettable farewell gift to 2 people who had spent years making children miserable. Sometimes karma arrives through justice, and sometimes it arrives buried in a ditch beside a lunchroom. If you enjoyed this revenge story and want more unbelievable real-life revenge tales, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. And tell me in the comments, was burying the keys too far, or was it the perfect goodbye?